Welcome back to the Here's Help radio show. If you would like to make a cash donation to Here's Help and join the fight against drug abuse, call Footy at 305-685-8201, extension 227. And now, here's the host of this week's edition of the Here's Help radio show.
Welcome back to the Here's Help radio show, the longest running public service program on radio in the United States. A great show, very interesting show lined up for you this weekend. We thank you for being with us. Our next guests include Dr. Jessica Ruez, who is the Chief Psychologist at Behavioral Health Associates of Broward, and Lisa Rahman, who is the CEO at the Goodman JFS, which is the
Jewish Family Services.
Jewish Family Services. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. But welcome to you both to the Here's Help show. Nice to have you on.
Thank you for having us. Nice to be here.
Let's start with the doctor, Dr. Jessica Ruez. Give our listeners a little backstory on you, where you're from originally, your education, and how you wound up being involved with Behavioral Health Associates of Broward.
Okay, excellent. Well, I'm actually a South Floridian, born and raised in Miami, and I graduated from Nova Southeastern University with my background is in clinical psychology and actually specialize in the area of addictions. I did my internship and postdoc at Yale University in the Division of Substance Abuse, and then came back down. As I said, my family was down in the South Florida area. I returned and taught for a few years at Albizu University in the clinical doctoral program there. Recently joined Behavioral Health Associates of Broward, which is the counseling programs for Goodman Jewish Family Services. I started with them in September of 2017, and it's been a fantastic. It's just such an incredible agency. So it's just been a pleasure to work with Lisa Rahman, our CEO, and so much of our staff.
And Lisa Rahman is with us. Tell us about your background.
Oh gosh, well, I've been with the agency now. It's over 7 years. And it's a phenomenal agency. We've been around over 55 years. My background actually is in the corporate sector. Over close to 20 years working in corporate marketing, financial institutions, but being in the nonprofit sector has given me the opportunity to really fulfill what I've always wanted to do, and I'm very happy to be here.
Now, the name Jewish Family Services is a bit of a misnomer. I understand you don't have to be Jewish to take advantage of the services.
Oh, absolutely. Our agency is a family social service agency. And again, we've been in Broward for over 55 years. Our mission statement, we're here, we're dedicated to empower individuals, strengthen families, protect the vulnerable, and helping seniors age safely and with dignity in their homes by providing innovative and wonderful social services and programs to the Broward community, regardless of race, religion, ethnic background, sexual orientation. Our work is based on Jewish values. But again, you don't have to be Jewish to come to our agency.
And one of my experiences over the years raising Jewish children, I don't think there is a stronger sense of community in any group of people that I've ever experienced more than the Jewish community. There just seems to be this underlying almost obsession with helping your fellow man and also having a strong sense of community. And the reason I bring that up is that what seems to me that strong sense of community gives you a wide range of services and outlets to choose from in order to provide help for people. Is that the case?
Absolutely. You know, when people call our agency, and we have a plethora of services, from counseling to financial assistance to a domestic abuse program. We also have a kosher food pantry. We have case management. We have a program just for Holocaust survivors in Broward County. It's sort of, I would say, a one-stop shop where people call for a specific reason. And then they find out, well, they need help in this area and that area. And they don't have to go to another agency. It's all taken care of within Goodman JFS.
And also psychological services are available.
Absolutely. So we have within our counseling program, we call it for short BHAB, it's Behavioral Health Associates of Broward. We offer individual counseling, group, family, couples therapy, and we actually are just kicking off right now our first psychoeducational testing program. So we are now able to offer testing for gifted placement. If, parents or the school system have identified a student that might be struggling with attentional issues, to assess for ADHD, for autism spectrum disorders, learning disorders. So we're very happy to announce that this program is currently up and running.
And it would seem to me that list you just rattled off, it sounds like those are a lot of expensive services, something that would be almost cost prohibitive for someone who is experiencing financial difficulties.
Well, the benefit about our services that we offer at BHAB, first off, the prices are in line, are competitive with the services that are in the area, and we are able to offer for individuals with financial need sliding fee assistance as well.
Absolutely, yes.
And so if you would walk us through, Lisa, say someone is in need of let's say they're looking for food, help with food.
Sure.
They would call your, what number?
954-370-2140.
And what would happen?
So they call and they would get our front desk. We'd find out why the person was calling. We put them through our intake center. Our intake center is kind of the hub of the agency. It's the heartbeat, so to speak. That's where we find and assess what the person needs, what they're looking for. So somebody calls and let's say they're hungry, or they don't have enough milk, or they don't have enough food for their children. We'll assess their need. If it's appropriate, we'll send them to our cupboard, which is our kosher food pantry that we opened, and it's a volunteer driver program, and it's a pantry by choice, and that's located in Davie. Or perhaps if it's an immediate need, they can come up and we can come to the agency and we'll give them a gift card to Publix, but we'll provide the help as soon as possible. On the phone, and if we're speaking with the individual, they may find out that the person is unable to pay their FPL bill. We'll assess the situation, send them to our financial assistance department, and we'll be able to pay the bill and get their lights on. Or if we find out the person has been in a situation where there's been domestic violence, we'll send them over to our domestic abuse program. So it's an array of services that we offer, and it's to get this one individual as self-sufficient as they can be.
And I was talking with our guest at the beginning of the program about education, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And I use the analogy that, it's one thing to provide someone with food. It's quite another thing to educate them on how to prepare food for themselves. A lot of times it's not enough just to bring a bag of groceries to someone if they don't know how to prepare it in order to eat it. So do you provide those services as well?
Well, we will be.
Oh, good. Okay.
That's something that we're looking into. Excellent. On nutrition and education. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's what's the saying? You teach them how to fish instead of.
If you give someone a meal, they can eat for a day.
Yes.
And if you teach them to fish, they can eat for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
I use that. I mean, you must have been listening and
yes.
eavesdropping on my first interview. So that's great. And I know you also provide, as I said, because you have so many other agencies, Jewish agencies around. The SORF JCC has a summer camp, and I know you actually sometimes place children in the summer camp program.
Yes, we receive a wonderful scholarship from the Jewish Federation of Broward to place children in camps and for the summer, and it's a wonderful partnership we have with the Jewish Federation of Broward. We receive a number of grants and foundation money from many organizations, United Way of Broward. We received FEMA. We received a grant from the Jim Moran Foundation, as well as we receive a huge, one of our hugest funding sources is from the Claims Conference of New York, which takes care of our Holocaust survivors in Broward County. And currently we have about 960 Holocaust survivors in our program.
Wow. Now, all of this sounds fabulous. It almost sounds too good to be true. I mean, I can imagine someone who's listening to us talk right now and they're in need of a particular service and they're listening to all of this being provided, and all it really takes is a phone call. And I'm glad that you did mention funding, because it sounds like there's a lot of funding required to pull this off.
Absolutely, and it's funding, and it's also the community, it's the individual support. And, I can tell you stories and read emails that we receive from our clients saying, basically, you saved my life. You put food on my table. I was this close to being evicted because I was sick and I had to miss work, and that's life, and how we kept a roof over people's head. But it's not only that. It's when it comes down to it, it's providing dignity. It's providing a sense of community that otherwise these people don't have, because they're alone. We have a case management program, which is called our Family Link program, where we're the eyes and ears for the elder population, and where they have no other family, or they have family that lives out of state, and they can't get down here enough, or they can't see on a daily basis what's going on with their parents. So we have a program, we have care managers who go and kind of are the advocates for them to make sure that they're living as comfortably as they can.
Now, we were talking with Dr. Jessica Ruez, who is the Chief Psychologist at Behavioral Health Associates of Broward, and Lisa Rahman, who is the CEO of the Goodman Jewish Family Services. And we thank you both for being on the show with us today and enlightening us and our listeners. This sounds like one of the best kept secrets in Broward. We need to get this message out and let people know.
As I said, we've been around over 55 years, and we're a diamond. We are the diamond in the community, and with the help of all our funders and partnering agencies, we're here to provide the services for people that need us, as well as for people that choose our services, such as our psychological counseling services.
And Dr. Ruez, what are some of the challenges that people are facing that you speak with when they contact the services? What's going on out there?
Well, it's been kind of interesting. After February 14th and the shooting in Parkland and Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, we were actually on the scene in the community within a few hours. And since then, we actually opened up a satellite office. So we have two locations. We have one is in Davie, and we're actually on the Jewish Federation campus.
That's at Posnack?
Right next to the Posnack School. And then we opened up two office locations in, it's within the same building, but we have two office spaces in Coral Springs, Parkland, right off of...
Heron Bay?
It's in the Heron Bay area. So we opened up March 1st there in order to meet the needs. So now we typically, from the Parkland Coral Springs area, we've been working with the families, students, teachers affected by the shooting, as well as others in the area that are, struggling with some of the challenges that their community has faced. In our Davie location, we typically are getting individuals that are calling. There's some different life transitions. Couples that are, trying to work on the relationship and make some improvements. We have some young teens that are experiencing some anxiety and some social anxiety, how to better communicate with their friends, how to manage distress, maybe some mood challenges. They're getting depressed and they're kind of not sure, how do I work on my thinking so that when I do start to focus on things that aren't helpful, what can I do to kind of shift and change that? We have a lot of seniors that reach out to us, and they're like, things are changing. The goals, how I thought about myself and how I imagined things would be are a little bit different today than what I thought, and it's hard, so they need some additional supports. So we really work with people through a variety of different challenges and struggles and transitions.
Well, you mentioned a couple of things there that brought a couple of questions to mind. First off, with school just starting in South Florida, do you find that there's not a great deal, but a certain amount of anxiety among young students, not necessarily because of school violence, but peer pressure, and adolescence is that time when you're very, very self-conscious?
Absolutely. So going back to school almost inevitably is going to bring up some excitement and some anxiety, not just for the kids, but for parents. There's mixed emotions. You're excited because you're going back to see your friends. Parents may be a little bit relieved. Okay, the kids are in school. But with that comes, especially in transition years, right? Going from elementary to middle school, from middle school going into high school, or you just move locations or you're starting a new school in general. Right. What do I expect? What's going to happen? So we have some natural kind of anxiety that comes up that's probably healthy, because it gets us thinking about things. Nice
to be pushed out of your comfort zone.
Absolutely. We grow. That's how we change. But what will happen is we want to be mindful for those kids who still, several weeks out are still struggling a little bit. And we want to think about what could be happening in school that might be challenging. Bullying is a big component. So, as parents, as teachers, as caregivers, or as healthcare professionals, we often kind of want to check in, for a kid that maybe is really they're really struggling to get up in the morning to go to school. Or their kids manifest anxiety differently. They may not tell us, hey, I'm anxious, but they might show us with their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I have a headache. I don't want to go today.
Don't feel good.
I don't feel good. And you've ruled out there's really nothing else going on. We want to check, how are things going? There's a lot of, not just bullying that happens, the classical bullying when somebody's giving you a hard time in school, but social media, through social media. That bullying is quite difficult,
right?
Because you have oftentimes they go for a different type of humiliation in front of a group of people, and that gets passed around.
Right.
So we concerned about bullying, perhaps. We also wonder, the kids that are struggling a bit and anxiety that's up, are there other things they're worried about? And sometimes it's academically they're not really performing, and they're worried, about. For some reason, I can't quite get math, and I'm struggling, and my friends are kind of going through the classes okay, and I'm not. What does that mean? And we worry about them feeling like labeled or that they don't quite understand what's going on. And that's why the testing sometimes is helpful, because we can identify, is there, just a particular area that might be more difficult for one child versus another. So it's coming back to school at around this time. Like I said, for those kids that are very well connected and have their group of friends and know their school, they might be more excited because they already know we're all going to meet in the,
Right. Right.
But for those kids who maybe are just starting out somewhere, or they struggle a little bit with anxiety, they might really have some fears and concerns about speaking in front of others, or still are developing ways of making new friends. Those are the ones we can, we want to help develop those skills a little bit more.
Great. And now you also mentioned senior citizens, and you were saying that sometimes retirement is not what, you work your whole life, and you're told that if you work your whole life and plan for retirement, then that's your golden years. And I just read a report recently that the number of retirees filing for bankruptcy has increased dramatically.
Yes.
So do you find a lot of seniors are very apprehensive, almost refusing to retire, afraid they can't afford to?
Absolutely. And those that have retired, many that come to our program are really trying to figure out, are there other ways that I can kind of subsidize income? And they might be looking at going back to some form of part-time work. So they're not necessarily being able to enjoy things. Now, those that actually are financially a little bit more stable and we still have some other challenges, which is, holy cow, what do I do with myself now?
Right, right.
I'm used to working 40, 50, even 60 hours a week, and I don't quite know what to do with myself.
Inactivity is not a good thing.
Absolutely. So oftentimes that's what we do, is work on, how about let's take some time and...
How about volunteer?
Absolutely. And we have some incredible volunteering opportunities at JFS.
Absolutely.
Before we wrap up, I know you have an event coming up, a fundraising event. Let's give that some publicity.
Oh, thank you so much. It's our Feed the Need event, and that's on October 28th. And the Feed the Need event is for our cupboard, which is our kosher food pantry. And this is the second year that we're having this event. We opened the cupboard, actually it was a few days after Hurricane Irma. So it was last September. And currently we've able to deliver food to over 200 families in Broward, and the impact is close to over 600 individuals.
Wow.
And it's a wonderful program, and we would love people to come to this event. Again, it's October 28th, and please call the agency or go onto our website, which is, I'll give you the agency website, which is www.jfsbroward.org, and you can see a host of all the programs and services we offer and know more about events. And Dr. Rees, if you want to...
Sure. And the direct line for our counseling program for Behavioral Health Associates of Broward is 954-909-0888. And our website, if you want to obtain more information about us, who are our clinicians, what do we do, it's bhabroward.org.
Well, Lisa Rahman, who is the CEO of Goodman Jewish Family Services, Dr. Jessica Ruez, Chief Psychologist at Behavioral Health Associates of Broward. Thank you both for all the great work that you're doing, and thank you for trying to make our community a better place for folks to live. And thanks for being on our program.
Oh, thank you
so
for
much.
having us.
South Florida, stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Here's Help radio show.